Welcome to SciTech Culture with Steve Kern and Ben Warner, where we examine science, technology and culture in the 21st century. Visit our website at scitechculture.com. I like, looking at the moon, especially when it's full. I actually get to see, like a full moon just off the balcony here once a month, obviously. I remember back in the day filming a moon shot for Guardian, one of the films that we made back in the day, and it was an extraordinary effort to get it to look like the moon, which was basically I had to shoot it against a blue sky when it was still daytime, and then filter all the blue out and composite stars into the shot, and voila, we got a natural moon shot. But no, Samsung's got another thing coming here, Steve. I have to enjoy this. We'll talk about computational photography maybe after we've talked about this, because I think this is a broader subject matter in terms of what's a photo today, in terms of what your smartphone's taking. But it's fascinating that, the Samsung are touting these features. So in this case, it's the periscope zoom that's in the S23 models. And I think they've had in their last couple of models. I can't be sure because I don't use them, but I understand it's been with the Samsung phones for some time now. And it's great. I thought the 100 times zoom was really just about capturing something to prove that you caught it, as opposed to it being an artistic, photo, because, you wouldn't get the detail or whatever. And now, this whole thing about, are they overlaying some AI of data set of the moon over the top of the shot so you can get a better shot? It yields a good result, but obviously it's led to a backlash of, well, it's faked. In other words, like you're not actually capturing the thing for real. And that's why I don't know what you think about all of that. We'll talk about it in context of the computational photography stuff in a minute, but I mean, it seems to me like if this was going to be a feature, they should have just said so.
Oh, I totally agree. I think it's just marketing, not really understanding any of the technology and thinking they had to lie as usual about a particular feature, for whatever reason. I can't believe they didn't come out and just come out cleanly with it, because it's, unless they wanted to keep it a secret from their competitors. But what a great idea. The moon is tidally locked with the Earth in terms of rotation, so we see the same face of the moon whenever we see the moon. And as you get to computational light photography, really all I imagine that the algorithm is doing is recognizing certain features very poorly sort of illuminated in our Earth photos with a Samsung phone, and overlaying the features that we should be seeing perfectly. I think that's a marvelous feature. I think it's a great piece of technology. And I think that the people in marketing should have a long, hard look at themselves.
And I think that it would have just been a non-story if they just said in the, when they were announcing the S23 or whatever, oh, hey, this is what we can do with it, and no one would have said anything.
Look, the thing is every phone release, irrespective of the manufacturer, everyone bemoans, oh, there's not really a step forward, it's not very exciting. They could have just come out and said, we've got this algorithm, you can take moonshots all night long, and everyone would have gone absolutely mad for it.
Especially if they provided the ability to switch it off, if for the people that want apparently the pure photo experience. But that's
for the people that want the fuzzy little white dot that doesn't look anything like the moon.
Exactly. But it does bring up a broader point around computational photography in that when you're taking photos with any smartphone, and I'll use the iPhone as an excellent example of this, is it actually what you're taking? Because what, as I understand, happens is that as soon as you open any of the camera apps, it's already cycling through and taking shots, and it's already trying to figure out what the best composition for that photo should be, lighting, white balance, and whatever. And a classic example of this is that, I get, from time to time, some really good color sunsets off the balcony here. And I'll go, oh, great, I might pop out there and just take a snap. And I go out there, and as soon as I open the camera app, for about a second, the color matches what I'm seeing with my eyes, and then all of a sudden it changes and it dulls out and it just doesn't look interesting. And and that's part of what it's doing. It's sort of like, all right, okay, we need to kind of balance this out, make it look as normal or natural as possible, depending on what, in this case, what the iPhone's decided that should be the best representation of that photo. So then the question becomes like, if you're not controlling that, I mean, I know there are apps that you can put on any of these phones that has a lot more manual adjustment if you want to go down that path. But for the average user, they're only going to use the camera app. And what are they getting? They're getting like predetermined, sort of aesthetics in their photos by an algorithm, which might only be okay if they blatantly advertise, okay, you can turn that off if you want. Yeah.
Well, that's it. I don't think they do give you the option to turn it off, do they? I'm not sure. But look, to me, this is just an extension of our modern world. I would go and look at any photo on the socials, any selfie on any of the socials. There'll be a filter across them. It's not really a real photo, but we've got so comfortable with that. Now we just extend it to any shot at all. And I've got to say, the optimization on the iPhone's pretty good. Do I mind? No, I don't care, because I don't really take my phone seriously as a camera. Maybe that's because I'm old school. But by the same token, gee, am I glad I'm not messing around with manual controls, especially on a phone, with a fairly second-rate lens on any of the phone cameras. Trying to get something that looks good. And also, I'm thankful I don't really need to spend much time applying filters now, thanks to the new algorithms. So I think as long as everybody realises that every photo they're taking on their phone is pretty much fake, then there shouldn't be any problem. But I don't think that any of the manufacturers are upfront about this sort of stuff.
Absolutely. Well, segueing across to another type of photography, which is the James Webb Space Telescope, and this is in another range entirely, in the sense that it's capturing, there's been lots of stories of these amazing images that it's, sort of bringing back to us, with one of the latest ones being the telescope capturing a star on the cusp of death, so kind of before it's going supernova, and you get this sort of detailed, colourful picture that you otherwise wouldn't have. Apparently it was 15,000 light years away. And I think, I wonder if, with all of this, I think we're still in this wow phase with what this telescope can do in terms of what it's beaming back to us. But, obviously with study and everything, the true ramifications of what probably is being learnt at the moment probably won't be coming out for another couple of years, as the data is sifted through and sorted and analysed and all of that, because we're seeing levels of detail that we hadn't seen before and weren't available to us.
Oh, that's right. And of course, at this stage, they're just releasing the best images, the most interesting images, and the ones they know that'll capture our imagination. Star on edge of death, distant, like 15,000 light years away. What a great story. But you're right. I think beyond the sort of things that we're seeing via James Webb, and what an amazing ability it has to capture, the cosmos. It's astounding to think that we've got images like that. And in my lifetime, we've gone from blurry, fuzzy little dots, like taking a shot with your phone of the moon, to be able to see with the resolution that James Webb's supporting. It's phenomenal. And we will discover many more things than just the stories we're headlining now about James Webb. There would be so much data. They'll pick up things that we've never seen before with it, and they'll need to explain those things. And as they explain those things, we'll get a greater understanding of our universe.
And potentially upend maybe some things as well that maybe we thought we knew, which is all exciting, really.
I think that's already starting to happen. So, I mean, it's just amazing, But to think that we can see these things, it just blows my mind.
Absolutely. And sadly, going from that inspiring topic, we're now going to talk about banking, and obviously the headline news about Silicon Valley Bank going down, and what was the other one? Signature, I think, was the other one, and then there was Credit Suisse, and then this whole thing about contagion and people freaking out, and the sort of I don't know if you want to call it comical, like, oh, the FDIC insured the deposits up to 250,000, but then the federal government had to step in to secure every single dollar that could have potentially have been lost by depositors, and then this kind of I don't know if you want to call it a beat up, but the idea of, oh my God, we're in another GFC if something isn't done seriously. And in an environment where we've had, 15 years of endless money, never-ending money printing, and this kind of stimulus kind of thing going on, and all of that, and this is, a good old-fashioned bank run, particularly in the case of SVB. You kind of just sit there and you go, it doesn't. It felt shocking in 2008, and obviously, there's enough to argue that there were much bigger banks involved in that and all that sort of thing. But now it doesn't. And although SVP was probably more, in particular, was more I'll use the word boutique, but obviously it was catering to a very specific clientele as opposed to your regular day-to-day bank. But it's still the same kind of thing, isn't it? That it's just similar patterns emerging, I guess, would be the way to put it.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. It's and I think you've hit the nail on the head. It just seems like, oh, yeah, okay. And yet there's media hysteria about it, like every time, and they're, now linking it to interest rates. Maybe it'll give us a breather, and the contagions that could take us all down. And they put a number of protections in over the last 15 years to avoid this. Look, there's only one way to tell if any of the stuff that they've done is going to work, and that's by us going through another financial crisis of sorts. So we'll have to wait and see now. But I just wish the media would calm down more than anything else. I'm not that worried at the moment because, from my perspective, it's all someone else's money.
Yeah, exactly. But that you hit a. I mean, we've had a bit of a running narrative around the media and how they tend to hype things up, and there's. And you do get that, like they blast this over the airwaves, and you think, oh, is there something wrong with my bank? Or like someone who isn't maybe as informed or doesn't pay attention as much, and they just see this blaring headline, and they might start to freak out or whatever, and it causes unnecessary angst, for people.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, look at the panic in Australia, at any rate, that's been whipped up around interest rates over the last 6 months, and I just don't think it really is very helpful to continually raise panic. I mean, people need to know what's going on, sure, and if there is a danger, we need to know that as well. And if there is, a guarantee that the government needs to give, let them give it. But I don't think we need to turn it into like, we're all going down on the Titanic every time anything unusual happens, or usual happens, just doesn't happen frequently.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a boy cried wolf situation. And then, which is maybe where we might end up being, like with the media anyway, which has led to so much loss of credibility over time.
Well, I tend to agree with you. I'm almost wondering now if the stuff they're screaming about is the stuff that won't actually get us in the end, and it'll be something else that, everyone was looking in the other direction where all the talk and panic was, and something else sneaks up right behind us. And that's what does the financial system in.
Absolutely. I did find a lot of what I did find fascinating about the fact that it was just a good old-fashioned bank run, and that just some really poor decisions were made in terms of investing depositors' money. And I just thought it was an interesting story, and another cautionary tale in the sense that, any bank could end up in this position if not managed appropriately. I think in today's world, you'd think, this is so well, I won't say regulated, but banking's been a part of us for forever. It would seem, hundreds of years or whatever, and you would think, nah, surely it can't happen, and all it takes is some poor management or some a lack of insight, to see where things could be going, and you end up with something like this.
It's unbelievable. When people want their money back, they want it back, and if that all happens at once and you get a real run, then if you're owed money and you don't have it, or if they don't have it, then you've got a problem.
Yeah, and I was kind of joking before about, having multiple bank accounts now just to spread the risk.
It might not be such a bad idea. You might want to shove your crypto in your mattress or something.
I was about to say that's the next step, chucking the money under the mattress again. Who would have thought?
That's right, but if you can't trust the financial system, then you've got a real issue.
Absolutely. All right, Steve, we might wrap it up there. I'm actually now tempted to go start taking some shots of the moon with the iPhone and see what ends up happening to see if they actually can do it.
With your experience, take a shot with the iPhone and then do the old trick of engineering something over the top manually. I'd like to see what you come up with.
Oh, absolutely. And obviously can post it to Instagram after that with its own filter. Oh, absolutely. All right. So don't forget to check out our website, scitechculture.com. You can get all of our links and content there. You can subscribe to our YouTube and Vimeo channels and RSS feeds, and you can watch us on any and all of your devices. And we greatly appreciate your visits to our website. All right. So that's it for this episode. We'll catch you next time.